Have you ever wondered how some people seem to make time for everything whilst you sit there and think there's not enough hours in the day? Well, almost all of my clients at selfmastery.co are high-level entrepreneurs with multiple kids and packed out schedules, yet I've helped them all figure out how to not only make time for everything, but increase their free time as well. So in this video, I'm going to show you the system we use to do that and how you can use it to be more productive. And really, it all starts with knowing how to do this one thing, because if you don't learn this, well, you're never going to be able to make time for everything. And to explain it, I want you to imagine a pipe. Now, this pipe has multiple segments. It has an entry point where the water enters the pipe. It has an end point where water exits the pipe. And then it has all of these segments in between. The goal is for the water to flow smoothly and seamlessly from the start to the end. Now, this sounds simple, right? But what if each segment had the potential of being blocked? And of course, if it gets blocked, water can't flow. Obviously, this creates a bit more of an issue. So let's say this last segment right before the exit was 20% blocked, so only 80% of the water could flow through it. Obviously, we would want to fix it. Water is literally being blocked right before the goal. But if let's say the second segment was 90% blocked, so that only 10% of the water could flow through it, you could fix that last segment and get another 20% of water flowing through, and it would be great. But that is only 20% of the 10% that is already getting through at the start. If you look at the amount of water leaving the pipe, you actually haven't made that much of an impact. Because whilst you did something that had to be done, there was something more important that had to be done. There was a part of the pipe that was even more blocked. And so if you waste your time working on less important things, sure, you might accomplish something, but the impact you have is far less, and it will likely just take as much time as working on the important things. And so you're never going to have time for everything. The first step to making time for everything is learning how to prioritize effectively. And the thing about prioritizing is that it's incredibly personal, because prioritizing is simply you saying this thing is more important to me than this other thing. And so nobody, including me, can tell you exactly how to prioritize for you. We can give you frameworks, and I can give you bits of advice and frameworks and mental models, which I'm going to do to help you, but it really is up to you. Now, of course, there is an incredibly simple thing you can do to prioritize, or at least help you figure out what to prioritize, and that is simply write out everything you have to do each week. Okay, so sit down and write down everything from business tasks to team meetings to taking kids to school to the gym, etc., etc. You then want to, with your goal in mind, and you might actually benefit from writing your goal out here so that it's in front of you when you do this, reorder these tasks in order of priority. Now, typically what I recommend with my clients is you put your number one priority as the most important task for your business and then build around that. Some of my clients have dinner with their family every day as a number two priority. Some don't, okay? But as long as your most important business task is your number one priority, everything else is up to you. There's a few reasons I recommend having your business task as your number one priority, mainly because that is the most important task to grow your business. Secondly, if you're an ambitious person and you're not actually doing the things that are required to chase your goals, you will feel like shit. If you feel like shit, and if you're not filling your own cup first, you can't fill other people's cup, okay? Now, here's the thing about priorities that most people just neglect, mainly out of ignorance. They don't know that they actually need to do this. But your priorities are not prioritized unless they are reflected in your schedule. So you then want to split those tasks up into the days of the week you do them. You know, some tasks, like your most important business task, will need done every single day. So you want to write down all the days of the week and then list your number one business task under all of them. And then, you know, team meetings might be every Tuesday. So you'll write down on Tuesday you're doing team meetings, and doing X with your family might be on a Friday. So you write it down under Friday. Now what you've got here is every day of the week and every task that you have to do in that day of the week in order of priority. Finally, then every night you want to sit down and plan your days, however you do that. But what I recommend is you plan every hour, and the idea is you take 5 minutes every night to plan tomorrow. You list out every task you have to do tomorrow in order of priority, and then you assign each of those tasks to an hour of tomorrow, and again in order of priority. So your number one priority, your most important business task, gets scheduled first thing in the morning before everything else. Of course, some priorities like a team call or a dinner with your family might be at a set time, you know, that like a 12 p.m. team call or 6 p.m. for dinner, and you obviously schedule them for their set times, but everything else is planned in order of priority. This is so simple, but so many people have never done it, and so they're not clear on what needs prioritized, what actually matters, and so they end up working all day on stupid tasks that don't create progress and they don't have time for anything, never mind everything. If you do this, you're creating a structured day around your goals and priorities. You're creating clarity in what needs done and when. And you're quite literally already making time for everything, since you've quite literally written everything you need to do out and then assigning that to an hour. And you can even do this with the likes of your hobbies, with the likes of free time if you want. I know it might sound a bit crazy, but I personally schedule free time just so that I make sure I make time for it. For a lot of people, that's all they would need to do to make time for everything. Seriously, it can be that simple, just a bit of structure and clarity. But for a lot of people, it's not, because of one major problem. And that problem is that a day only has 24 hours. And so if you have an absolute shit ton to do, you might not even have enough hours in the day to do it all. You know, if you write down every task you have to do in the week and then split them into each day, you might find that you have like 20 things to do each day. So how can you solve this problem? Well, you see that list of all the tasks that you have to do each week in order of priority. I can guarantee you that there are so many tasks on there, especially business tasks, that do not actually need done, or at the very least don't need done by you. So what you want to do is look at everything you wrote down and see what you can either eliminate, automate, or delegate. And the best way to do this is simply ask yourself with each task, if I eliminated this, would my business still grow? If it's a yes, then eliminate it. If it's a no, ask if I found a way to automate or delegate this task, would my business still grow? If it's a yes, then automate or delegate it. If it's a no, then just do it, okay? The only tasks I wouldn't really recommend applying this framework to are the 3 most important tasks in your business. Once you've done that, if you still don't have time for everything, the next thing you can do, and you can do this even if you do have time for everything, is batch certain tasks. For example, if you create content to drive traffic, batch create content for the entire week in one day. If you have client or team calls, do them all in one day of the week if possible, and so on for whatever other tasks that you can batch. The main reason this works so well is because it eliminates context switching, where if you go from, say, creating content to doing a team call, you're going from one type of task to a completely different type, and there's going to be a bit of lag in your mind switching to doing the task most optimally. Whereas if you do, say, all of your content in one day of the week, you can get into such a deep flow state and into the swing of things that you get so much more done in less time and at a higher quality. And so if you do both of those things, if you eliminate, automate, or delegate tasks, and you batch tasks, and you still don't have time for everything, there is a hard truth that you're going to have to face. And that is that you only have so much time in the day, and there's only so much you can do to speed up a certain task and do it faster. Like this YouTube video that I'm recording right now, if it takes me 30 minutes to record, well, there's not much I can do to speed that up, right? It just takes 30 minutes to record. Writing the script might have taken me 2 hours, and there's not much I can do to speed that up. If client calls take up 10 hours a week, there's not much you can do there, okay? They take 10 hours. And so if you look at the most elite entrepreneurs, they all focus on doing less. And that might be something you need to do. You might just need to go and be like, okay, if I want to make time for everything, something has to go. I have to drop something. If you do this, right, not only will you have more time, but the things you do will be done to a higher quality since you're not spread as thin. But you do have 2 other options. One is hire more people in your business to take some of the responsibility and tasks off your shoulders so that you quite literally don't have as much to do. And the second is recognize you might be in a season of work. Sometimes we get into seasons where we are required to do way more than we would like, and that's fine, okay? You just have to accept that. And if that's the stage that you're in, again, you can either do less and cut some things out, or you can deal with the fact that you're going to be working non-stop. The issue with this is that if you are in a season of work, something will automatically have to be cut out or at least suffer. If you're working in business all day, every day, then something like your family life or your fitness is going to take a hit because of how much time you're dedicating to your business. And it's up to you to recognize if that's something you're okay with or not, and then act appropriately or accordingly. Like, that's not something I can tell you is right or wrong. That is a decision you have to make. It's a trade-off. Am I willing to work harder and longer on my business to grow it faster at the expense of X or Y or whatever is being sacrificed? But honestly, if you don't have time for everything, see what you can eliminate, automate, or delegate. See what you can batch, see if you can hire people, and then potentially see what you need to stop focusing on so that you quite literally have less to do. All of that is great, it's brilliant, and you need to do it. But how do you deal with the tasks that just pop up throughout the day, because that can really derail any chance of you making time for everything. Think about it. If tasks, whether it's emails, ad hoc work, problems, or whatever else, keep coming up throughout the day, it can quite literally ruin your entire schedule. Luckily, there's actually a super simple solution, and it all relies on this concept called a daily wrap. The idea is that you set a hard stop time to stop working on your business each day. It could be 2 p.m, 5 p.m, 10 p.m. Again, that's up to you, whatever works for you and your situation right now. And the last 30 or 60 minutes, again, depending on you and your situation, before that hard stop time should be spent doing your daily wrap, where you complete all the small tasks, the emails, the problems, etc. that come up throughout the day. So let's say you have hard stop time at 6 p.m. Right now it's 12 p.m. say, and all of a sudden something happens, some task pops up, right? Well, if you use a daily wrap, you would leave that task until 5 p.m, 1 hour before your hard stop time, and do it then. This way you ensure your current schedule designed for you to make time for everything isn't disrupted. Your focus and attention aren't distracted, but yet you still close that loop and get the task done. However, making time for everything does rely on you having a high level of productivity and performance so that you can get things done as efficiently and as effectively as possible. So watch this video right now and I'll show you how to achieve more in 1 week than most people achieve in 3 months.